Thank you, Chairman. My task is to set the scene for the conference from a Dorset CPRE perspective. My intention is to answer the three questions on the slide. I just need to move that over there. How many homes are really needed in Dorset? What mix of homes should there be in the light of a crisis in local affordability? And if affordable homes are needed, who should pay the subsidy required? And I'm really looking for a Dorset-wide perspective here. So we're talking not nine homes, not small developments on their own, but we're talking in hundreds and thousands here now in terms of the interplay between housing and the countryside. First, let's look at the evidence for how many new homes are really needed in Dorset. The 2021 draft local plan allocated land for new homes in Dorset over the next 17 years, using the government's standard method for assessing housing need. The standard method now requires something like 1,900 new homes each year in Dorset. And the calculation adds a 40% uplift to projected household growth because houses in Dorset are expensive. A huge negative response to the draft plan caused Dorset Council to pause. People didn't want the green belt encroachment and the scale of greenfield development. They said the infrastructure wouldn't cope, and they foresaw that the new homes would not be affordable to locals. Dorset Council delayed the process. Does the standard method really measure housing need in Dorset? Let's examine some market and demographic research. In 2021, Dorset Council commissioned consultants Iceni to assess local housing need. Iceni's chart, shown here, reveals what caused the population of Dorset to grow or shrink in each recent year. Shrinkage in the natural population, shown in red, is more than offset by net in-migration, shown in dark green. The wavy line is the net effect, currently about 2,000 people yearly. So Dorset grows mainly because of net in-migration of middle-aged and older people. People move to Dorset because of the high amenity, the sea, the coast, the delightful villages, the historic towns, the national landscapes and dark skies. Incomers bring equity to house purchases and pay 11 or 12 times local incomes because they can. 51% of Dorset's buyers pay cash, compared with a third across England as a whole. Outright ownership of homes is very high too, at nearly a half. This pattern of growth distorts the population structure. The median age in Dorset is exceptionally high, and so is the percentage of people aged 65 and over. The top chart shows Dorset's median age as a blue dot among dots for all the other local authorities in England. And the second chart shows Dorset's percentage of over 64s in the same context. As you can see, both are extreme. The brown dots show the Isle of Wight, recognised in the National Planning Policy Framework as being an exception to the rule of the standard method. And Dorset CPRE contends that Dorset is an exception too. If growth continues along the same lines, the effect will be markedly to distort further the age profile in Dorset. Bearing in mind that the government is already worried about England's future age profile, these charts show how distorted the age profile of Dorset might be by 2038 as a result of further net in-migration. But we ask, what might occur if new house building were to increase by 40% more due to planning using the standard method? That really doesn't look wise. But there are other market considerations too. Dorset Council's housing need assessment calculated that if all the standard methods new homes were actually to be occupied, household formation rates in Dorset would need to return to 2001 equivalents. And they found that net in-migration would need to double as well. But that implies that affordability would need to return to its 2001 level too. And back then, average homes cost just 3.6 times household income in the Southwest, compared with about 9 or 10 times today. So a reduction of perhaps 60% in house prices would be required. And is that really likely? Doubling net in-migration into Dorset implies a lot more distortion of the age profile and a big knock-on effect on health and care services. Doubling net in-migration seems unlikely too, since other local authorities would be increasing their home building and looking for extra in-migration into their areas, just like Dorset. Iceni concluded, not surprisingly, that it was more likely that the industry simply would not build so many extra homes because developers wouldn't find enough extra customers. But there's another market consideration. The standard method of calculating housing need is intended to increase the supply of allocated land and hence increase the supply of homes in order to improve their affordability. So building land, we presume, must be in short supply in Dorset. But Dorset Council tell us that at present there are over 13,000 plots in Dorset with planning permission already, on which not a single brick has been laid. That's about 10 years of current demand. There is evidently no appetite in the industry for building at a greater rate. Market development is constrained somehow, either by lack of skilled labour or the sales market, but not evidently by planning or lack of permissioned land. Why should planners follow the standard method and allocate land for 40% more than recent growth when already there is a huge surplus of permissioned land? So what should we conclude so far? Local people say they don't want the extra increase in house building implied by plans based on the standard method and its uplift. They don't believe in that route to improved affordability in Dorset. If followed, that route would worsen Dorset's already distorted age profile and put further pressure on local health and care services. But in fact, it's more likely that a plan based on the standard method in Dorset would simply fail because Dorset would not build the extra house numbers targeted, and affordability would continue to be difficult for many. We've seen too that land with permission is already in generous supply in Dorset, despite high house prices. Adding 40% more is pointless. The standard method idea of increasing supply to improve affordability is not a basis for sound planning in Dorset. So what would be better? Dorset CPRE think the way forward is twofold. First, Dorset should drop the affordability uplift in the standard method, resulting in a reduced but still sufficient housing target of about 1,300 homes per annum. Pressure on green belt, on precious green spaces, historic towns and villages, on roads and services would be relieved greatly. A scaled down target would be more consistent with Dorset's climate emergency policy too. Secondly, let's set an ambitious target to build truly affordable homes to meet the need directly and be prepared to subsidise them. Affordability is a problem mainly for those who rent. Dorset Council receive over 500 requests for help with housing every month. Employers say that the local economy is held back by the lack of truly affordable rented homes. Iceni's housing need assessment looked at the need for affordable housing specifically and identified a need for 577 social rent homes per annum. But social rent homes To enable them to be let at 50% or 60% of market rent require subsidy by definition. Can the market really, on its own, fund them? To answer, we need to look at viability issues. Dorset Council's local plan viability assessment explored how many new homes on market sites should be built for social rent. And they found that between 14% and 25% would be viable, with the higher proportion in areas with higher market prices. So overall, 20% might be possible. But 577 new social rent homes each year at an average of 20% on each site would require 2,885 total homes to be built annually, way beyond any total achieved in recent years. Have a look at the graph. And way beyond even the standard methods, 1,900. So the market alone won't meet the real need. 20% of 1,300 homes per annum would yield 260 social rent homes. But the remaining 317 need to be subsidised in some other way. Recent research suggests that subsidy would offer a big return. The Centre for Economics and Business Research, working for Shelter and the National Housing Federation, published a report in February showing the cost benefit of building 90,000 social rent homes nationally. They calculated that the long-term benefits, shown in green here, far outweighed the costs, shown in red, by over £50 billion, suggesting that each new social rent home would generate a long-term economic benefit to the country of £570,000. So subsidising new social rent homes would pay a handsome return for society and the economy. Similar research published last month by Sonnet Advisory and Impact, working with Sheffield Hallam University, calculated that each social tenancy brings with it an economic benefit to society of over £18,000 each year. There are potential savings in build costs too. When built as part of market developments, homes carry a wide range of overheads, illustrated here in broad categories using viability data from the evidence base of BCP's local plan, our neighbour. The headroom component is money that can be reclaimed by planners to provide affordable homes or other community benefits via SIL or S106 agreements. Instead of making market housing pay for social rent homes via headroom, they could be built or commissioned by Dorset Council direct. After all, building costs are only about 40% of a home's total cost, while headroom, minimum land value, and developers' overheads and profit constitute the remaining 60%. There are some current or prospective changes in the Levelling Up and Regeneration Act, all in the air now, of course, which may help. The council has a new power, I think, to set up a development corporation, which could reduce the developer's profit component because of lower risk. The Act introduces compulsory purchase of land at existing use value for projects in the public interest, potentially saving much of the land cost and headroom. Access to special finance is in the pipeline too. So subsidising new social rent homes makes sense. But of course, good planning is needed too. No one thinks today that social rent housing should be concentrated alone in large estates. At scale, the preference is for mixed housing, blending owned and rented, designed to be tenure blind. But small-scale, well-designed developments in urban and rural areas could be all or mainly social rent and contribute to solving the problem in rural areas of key workers being unable to find homes. So, to summarise what I've said, I set out with three questions. How many new homes are needed in Dorset? Dorset CPRE think that about 1,300 new homes per annum would be sensible demographically and would be more sustainable than the standard method. What sort of homes should they be? Within that 1,300 yearly housing target, affordability should be addressed directly by a strong target of 577, or shall we say 600, social rent homes each year. And who's paying? A third or nearly half of the 577 social rent homes might be financed by speculative development sites, but the rest would require extra subsidy. The market simply won't provide all the social rent homes needed. It won't happen. The lack of social rent homes is expensive to society in local housing allowance, in poor health, children's poor educational attainment, economic hindrance, and much more. Dorset CPRE thinks we should invest in social rent homes instead. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mike. That's a terrific presentation. Wow. Brilliant and beautifully presented as well.